Hey guys, this is Katie with Vintage and Vinyl. I don't know that anyone's up at this hour, but I decided just to do a little pop up live. This is Louie. She's my pug. A lot of people have been wanting to see her, so I thought I'd bring her on the live and show her off and do a little bit of what's spinning because I know I've been lacking on those videos, and a lot of people are probably wondering a little bit about what I've been listening to on my turntable. So this is Louie. She's going to help us out with the vinyl tonight. Say hi, Louie. Say hi to the people. Hi. She is just so cute, isn't she? I love pugs, and she is fabulous. She's always getting into trouble, though. She does like to eat the rug. Hi, Carrie. You are the one that really wanted to see Louie, so I'm so glad you jumped on. So this is Louie. Say hello to Carrie, Louie. She's so funny. She hears noises outside from my neighbors. They're having a Halloween party, and she has been going bananas all evening wanting to see what's happening. Louie, look at the camera. There you go. This is Louie. So how you doing, Carrie? I was so happy to be on Fatbird Finds live tonight. It was hilarious. I was dying laughing the whole time. It was so great. Lots of great content coming up for the weekend as well. I know Pam's going to have her sale at 8 p.m. on Saturday and Dee at 3 p.m. And Christine from Side Street Market, I think, is doing some sort of pop-up sale at 5 o'clock. And I haven't heard yet if, I know Vinny does his sales on Saturdays, but he's not having his tomorrow. So I think he's swapping with Corey, the Thrifted Artist. And I don't know if she's going to have her sale or not. So we'll have to see what's happening there, but lots of cool stuff. So I'm going to put Louie down now because Louie is a little wiggly, but say hi to Louie one last time. Hi, Louie, and goodbye, Louie. Louie, you ready to get down? Have you helped Mom enough? Yes, you have. Okay, you're such a good girl. Go on now. You can play. So, yes, Fatbird Finds was so funny. I just thought that was so fun. It took me about 2 seconds to clue into what was going on. And then when I saw they had swapped, I just couldn't get over it. The whole time I was just laughing. Louie had to come and check on me because she thought something was wrong at one point because I was laughing so hard. It was really great. So I've got some fun vinyl here that I think I'll show. I've been listening to all of this on my record player. Louie, what are you doing? She gets into things when I'm not able to watch her. She's very mischievous. So I'll show some vinyl that I've been listening to this week. I've got some fantastic 45s. And of course, with Halloween coming up, this is very timely. But I love Sheb Wooley and the Purple People Eater. This is just so classic. So I've got Purple People Eater I've been listening to by Sheb Wooley. And the flip side of this is I Can't Believe You're Mine, which is a really, really good song. I definitely recommend listening to that. I don't know if it's on YouTube or not, but worth a listen if you've got the time. And of course, Purple People Eater is just so perfect for Halloween. I've also been listening to a lot of Bobby Darin. Now, I'm a big Bobby Darin fan, and I think all of his stuff is fabulous. Now, this is on Attico, and this is Bull Moose. And of course, the flip flop, wow. The flip side is Dream Lover, which is one of Bobby Darin's most famous songs, next to Splish Splash. And I just really like this 45. Great songs on this. And Bull Moose is a lot of fun to listen to. If you're looking for an at-home dance party song, that definitely is it, along with this next 45. Now, this is on Delphi. And I love the Carlos brothers, so I've been listening to a lot of them. And this is Come On, Let's Dance. Now, if you're looking for this 45, it is a little harder to track down. I wouldn't call it necessarily rare, but you certainly don't see it in good condition for a good price. So I was really happy to get this on Discogs. The flip side is Tonight, which is another really good Carlos brothers song. And I really, really like them. I hope to pick up more 45s from them in the future because I don't have any more, just this one, but I really enjoy their music. And that is a great song. Now, the Chordettes are another fabulous group, and I try to include them on my Instagram stories when I know Vinny's having a sale because Vinny loves the song Lollipop. That's his favorite by the Chordettes. So I always add that song to my Instagram stories when I do my little calendar, so to speak, for the day. And this is a great Chordats 45. This is in the original sleeve, which at one point was sold at W.T. Grant Company, and it was on sale for 10 cents, which I think is just really fun to have the original sleeve. But this is No Wheels with Jeff Cron and Jackie Etterl. And on the flip side, it's A Girl's Work Is Never Done. Now, this song is so fun, and it's very true. What I love about the song is it talks about washing the windows. Wash up the windows and the floors. Oh, heck, the rain, a waste of time, which is really, really true. Of course, always happens when you get your car washed, right? And then immediately afterwards, it starts pouring down rain. And, well, that was just a waste. So here is Chordats on Cadence Records, No Wheels. And then the flip side is A Girl's Work Is Never Done, which I've been listening to a lot this week. Really love the Chordats. They're a great song, a great group with lots of great songs. And then, of course, on Coed, we've got some other great, fabulous music. Now, this is the Crests. Hey, Dawn, how are you doing? So Dawn is here. Carrie is here. And Angela Marksberry, great people in the chat. Angela's been doing a great job with the weekly calendar. I have really been so grateful to Angela because it helps me keep track of everything going on in the vintage community, because I just can't keep track anymore with all these new people popping up. They're fabulous, and I'm so glad that they have channels and they're doing live sales, but I just can't keep track. So that's a really big help, Angela. Thank you so much. And Michelle, hi, Michelle at Comfy Cozy Living. Michelle has a great channel, and she did a wonderful job on her Halloween live sale the other day. Michelle, you looked great as Mrs. Roper. I just thought you nailed that costume. And of course, you can hear Louie beneath my feet chewing on her toy there. She's making a lot of noise. So this album here is Coed. It's on Coed, and this is the Crests. Now, the Crests have a very, very hard set of records to track down, because I don't know if they're becoming more and more rare, you would say. They're just not an easy group to find on vinyl. But I love the Crests, and this is Coed, and this is a fabulous song, Beside You, but the flip side is my favorite Crest song ever. And this is 16 Candles, very, very famous Crest song. Great. If you haven't heard it, definitely go listen to. I love 16 Candles, and I was so glad to get this on Coed. So I paid about $9 for it, which is a lot, I would say, for a 45, or most people might think that. But in the world of vintage 45s and doo-wop groups that are a little bit harder to get, that's pretty cheap. Because some of these 45s I've been learning for a couple of groups that are more rare can go upwards of 10 grand, which is insane. Yes, 10 grand. So I was really lucky to get that. Oh, yes. Yes, you've seen Louie in the car. Yeah, I love Louie. Louie's so adorable. Oh, I'm glad you're going to listen as you finish packing. And yes, she is adorable. So if you missed Louie, I had her at the beginning of my live, but you can go on my Instagram if you have Instagram, vintage_and_vinyl, and see Louie. I do post her there. Yes. Oh, that's fantastic, Dawn. That's wonderful. You know, finding good 45s is really fun. And when you go to the thrift store, a lot of times they're junked into this like old box, or they're hanging off of a clothing rack, all just loose like that. And I always go in and want to scream like, no, they're all getting scratched. What are you doing? But sometimes you can find some really good 45s at the thrift store that are more rare or worth some money that people don't know that they have, and they just throw them in there. So be on the lookout for some of those 45s. You'd be surprised some of the old 50s music. If you're a reseller and you want to resell, or you're a collector, you'd be surprised what's in there. There's some good stuff sometimes. Now, this is Bobby Darin, and I love Bobby Darin, like I just mentioned, and this is on Attico, and of course, this is Splish Splash, probably his most famous song. And Bobby Darin, and I believe he's on 50s on 5, Pat Boone, yes, they have a good friendship. And he was talking the other day, Pat Boone, who's on 50s on 5, does the Pat Boone Hour. He was talking about how he and Bobby Darin were the first people to be on a lot of good TV programs together of the time. And he got to perform with them, which is really, really neat, on a bandstand. And they were the first two on American Bandstand. And he was talking about how Bobby Darin has a lot of words that were used in the 50s that were a little bit more popular with the young kids. And he just was amazed listening to him talk, because he didn't talk that way. So he was saying things like, "Hey, Daddy-O," and "cool cats," and all of that fun wording. Now, on the flip side, this is Judy, "Don't Be Moody," and this is a great song. I don't hear it a lot on the 50s on 5. I don't hear a lot of people talking about it, but I love Judy, "Don't Be Moody." It's a good song. So Don is saying that most of the ones I got were super limited releases, not worth a ton of money, but I love them. Yes, I don't collect vinyl so much for the idea of that one day it will be worth a lot. I collect it because I want to listen to it. So I am very picky about my vinyl. I don't just get all the vinyl in the land. I get vinyl that I know I'm going to really enjoy and listen to, because otherwise I'd have roomfuls of vinyl. But I am all in it for the music. That's what I like it for. Runaway, is that the 45 that you got? Very cool. And let's see, Michelle saying, "My sister and I used to sing Splish Splash when we rode in the car up north." That's fun, Michelle. That's really, really fun. It's a good song, I gotta say. I mean, it's definitely a good song. Great for a dance party. It's just fun, the images of coming out of the bath and getting caught when there's a whole party going on and you didn't even know it. And I love how in the song he says, "Well, I forgot about the bath and I went and I put my dancing shoes on," which is fun. Now, another great artist is Little Richard. And Little Richard has a album coming out soon, not new, obviously, but it's a Record Store Day limited release. And I am hoping to get that for Record Store Day. Now, this is Record Store Day Black Friday. They had 3 RSD Day drops: release 1, release 2, and release 3. The first one, I got Elton John. That was one of the ones I wanted, and a blues record. But the other 2 drops didn't have anything on the list that I wanted. But this drop is going to be really cool. So I hope to get Little Richard's album. And they're never before released songs on vinyl, never recorded. Well, they're recorded, but they're never released. So there's some special limited things on that. And also there's another album coming out, which is Chuck Berry. Now, this is, I believe, a live album, and it's Chuck Berry at New Year's Eve. And I hope to get that. Now, there's only 1,000 copies of each released worldwide. Or at least in the US. So that is a lot. Not a lot. I mean, it's what I'm trying to say is there's not a lot of it. It's a limited release. And that is going to be really tough to get. It's not as limited as in the past where they've maybe only had 200 or 300 copies of something. But it's still limited. It's not like the Elton John where they had almost 8,400 or so copies of that. So I really do hope to get that Record Store Day, Black Friday. The nice thing is our record store is doing the ticket system, so you can get tickets online and then come at your allotted time slot and then pick up what you want via the car. So it's totally safe and social distanced. And I really like that. Other record stores in our area are just going to be going like they normally do and let people line up all night and do that kind of crazy stuff. And I just don't think that's safe right now. So I'm glad that we have a really, really good record store. It was good to catch you for a few, Katie. I got to pack up for work. Oh, yes. Ding-a-ling. All right. Bye, Dawn. Have a good weekend. Yes, and good luck with work. I hope all goes well. Okay, so talking Little Richard, and we were talking about what I hope to get for Record Store Day. I do have a Little Richard 45, and I've been listening to this a lot this weekend. This week, and I will be listening to it, I'm sure, through the weekend, because this is such a good song. This is Tutti Frutti by Little Richard on Specialty. Really, really like this. And then the flip side is I'm Just a Lonely Guy. Now, this record does have some surface scratches, but it's not too bad. It plays pretty well without any clicks or pops. I mean, there's just a very little bit of static, but it's nothing super annoying. And I'm really glad I got this because there's a lot of good songs by Little Richard. And Little Richard's interesting. When he wrote the song Good Golly Miss Molly, he was still washing dishes in a train station in Georgia. And can you imagine, he's washing dishes and writing the lyrics to that song? That is so cool. I just think that's great. And then he went away from music for a while and actually joined the college to become like a priest. And then I think he decided to get back into music later on in his life. But he has a really interesting story. If you want to know more about Little Richard, definitely read up on him online because he's got a really interesting history. Now, this next 45 and the last 45 that I've been spending this week is on Brunswick. Now, this is the Accents, and this is Dreamin' and Schemin'. Now, I do believe this is a second press, if I've done my homework correctly. But anyway, I still really love this record, and it is just fabulous. This is Dreamin' and Schemin', the Accents, and then, of course, the flip side is my all-time favorite Accent song, and this is Wiggle Wiggle. Now, Wiggle Wiggle is a song. I mean, you can really do the mashed potatoes or the boogie woogie or the hand jive, whatever, to Wiggle Wiggle, because it's a really, really fun song. So I love the Accents, and I have to listen to that whenever I can because it just makes my heart happy. Now, this next album I'm going to show is an import. I had to get it all the way from Holland, and I don't know, there weren't any listed in the US. I haven't been able to find it since then, so I don't know anything really much more about it other than the fact that it is an imported record, and I did have to pay some international shipping. However, in my opinion, it's really worth it because it is the Del Vikings, and the Del Vikings are just awesome. They wrote the song Come Go With Me, and that was probably their biggest hit, and I don't know how popular they were after that. I don't know that they gained tons of traction, but people do know them for Come Go With Me, and this is Del Vikings, Come Go With Me on Official. I think this is definitely a re-release. I don't know much more than that. I know it's not an original press, but it's just fabulous to have all of these great Viking songs on it. So this has I Want to Marry You, What Made Maggie Run, which is fun because I have a friend named Maggie, and I keep forgetting to send her that song because it makes me think of her every time. What Made Maggie Run? Billy Boy, of course, Come Go With Me. Don't Be a Fool, Willette, Down by the Stream. Down in Bermuda, How Can I Find? True Love, Whispering Bells, When I Come Home, and Girl, Girl, which is just a great song. Girl, Girl, I really, really like that. So this is a great LP, and I recommend picking it up if you see it and you like the Del Vikings. Or if you've never heard them, go look them up because they're a really good doo-wop group. Their harmony is just so unique. That's the wonderful thing. I mean, there was 1,001 doo-wop groups that were all singing on the street corner, and they all had that really great vocal harmony. But so many of the groups, even though they're very similar, are different just because of the way the singers' voices are, and I just enjoy that so much. So the Del Vikings are a big hit. Now, this is a great LP. Now, I have been looking for Sam Cooke for a while. I've not been able to get him for a good price, and I don't know that any of his original vinyl is within reach. I think I've seen several vinyl going for $200 or $300, which is just something I'm not going to do. But I did get a compilation album of all of his best hits, and this is kind of neat because there are 2 LPs in this. It's a 2 LP set, and this is the legendary Sam Cooke, and this just has some great songs on it. It's got, there's 3 albums in this. I forgot there's 3. I said 2, but there are 3. This has You Send Me, which is one of my favorite Sam Cooke songs, and it's on the 50s on 5 station all the time, and I love that. It also has Sugar Dumpling, It has Good News, Teenage, Good Night, Having a Party, which I share Having a Party a lot on my Instagram stories because I just really like that song. So, in fact, I think it was on my Instagram stories today. I love Having a Party. Another Saturday Night is a good one. A Change is Gonna Come, Twisting the Night Away, Good Times. Now, this is Sam Cooke's version of Let the Good Times Roll by Shirley and Lee. Now, Shirley and Lee did that song first, and they did a good job. But I have to say, I really like Sam Cooke's version of it, almost slightly better, which is a big shock to probably a lot of people. But I love that. He's also got Everybody Loves to Cha Cha Cha, When a Boy Falls in Love, The Chain Gang. We were just talking about that song on Aaron's live event the other day, the Collection Vintage. She had a live sale. We were talking about The Chain Gang, which is a great song. Frankie and Johnny, For Sentimental Reasons. Wonderful World. Of course, everybody knows that song. Very, very famous. Tennessee Waltz, Send Me Some Lovin', Bring It On Home, and Only 16. Now, Only 16 is on 50s on 5 Alive. And that's a song that I really like as well. So everything by Sam Cooke is great. And this is a really good compilation to have. So if you're looking for Sam Cooke, I highly recommend this. It's on Golden Treasury label. It's the special collector's edition by Candlelight Music Incorporated. And I got this through Discogs for a really good price of $10, which I thought was very reasonable for a compilation album like that. Hi, Nicole. I'm so glad you joined us. It's late here, but I'm having fun showing some vinyl. And if I missed anybody else in the chat, I'm sorry. We're just having a late night record hangout, and I'm going to show some of what's spinning. And if you missed Louie earlier, my pug Louie was on the live, and you can see her on my Instagram page. I've shared her before, but she was hanging out with us for a little while until she got fidgety and wanted to get down. So this next record is one that took me a long time to find. This record is very scarce. There aren't a lot of them available, and especially in good condition. A lot of them are only in good shape, which does not sound good. If you're trying to get vinyl, you really want to make sure it's scratch free, because if there's too many scratches and dust and debris in it, it's just going to sound good. And those clicks and pops and static isn't really what's supposed to be in vinyl, and it does make your listening experience poor. So make sure to look for vinyl that's, I would say, at least VG Plus or better. Now, some people might say VG Plus is still really bad, but some of these older 50s records are just extremely hard to find. And so for me, VG Plus is okay, but I won't go lower than that unless it's something so incredibly rare. Nicole is saying, I'm about to watch some videos, but I hope you are well. I am doing well, Nicole. I hope you enjoy watching videos. I am so behind on YouTube content. There are so many great channels that I subscribe to and lots of great content out there, and I am just way behind. I haven't seen Misty's video, one of Misty's videos, in a long time. I haven't seen any of Michelle's content in forever, and I need to. And Vinny's videos I'm behind on, and Diana at Little Vintage Me 64, and Jeffrey. Man, I need to catch up on Real Nifty Vintage. There's just so many. I do make it to almost all the lives, and the premieres George has are really nice because it's scheduled, and I make sure that I'm there because we all need our education from Uncle Professor George for the week. But I have totally missed all of that content, and I need to go back and just watch it. I've just been very busy lately. So this record here that I have is one I was talking about that was really hard to find, and I did finally get it for a pretty good price. Now, $40 is a lot for a record. Most people would spend less than that, but for something like this, I think it was a total bargain, because you've seen others online similar to it going for $200, $300, $400, even $500. And I was really lucky to get this. This is an original press. This is Chuck Berry, 1 Dozen Berries. And for all of my vintage strawberry lovers, can I just say that this cover is everything? I love the album art on this. Chuck Berry is just one of my favorite all-time artists. I just think that he is amazing. Definitely great early rock and roller. And this has Sweet Little 16. It has Guitar Boogie, and it has the intro to all of my YouTube videos. So this is rock and roll music. This is on this. I'm behind too. Yes, Michelle, my Lord, am I behind? I got to catch up. Angela saying she's behind. Yes, you just don't have time, and you want to watch everybody's content and be supportive, but it's impossible to. And there's some channels that do a great job at putting out content every day, and then you get even more behind. So I really, really want to watch everybody's stuff because I enjoy it, but you got to have time to sit down and really take it all in because there's so much to see that is wonderful on YouTube. It really has almost replaced my TV, I have to say. I'm a big TV watcher, but now YouTube has become my main source of entertainment in the evenings. So this Chuck Berry, One Dozen Berries album has rock and roll music, Sweet Little 16, Guitar Boogie, How You've Changed, Low Feeling, Rock at the Philharmonic, Rockin' and a Reelin', which is another one of my very favorite Chuck Berry songs. Oh Baby Doll, It Doesn't Take But a Few Minutes, and Blue Feeling. I just absolutely love this album. And I have to say, if there was a fire, a lot of people in the vinyl community talk about that. If there's a fire, what is the one album that you would pull out of your collection and run out of your house? Well, this would be that album because this is just so cool to actually own. Now, it was originally, let's see if I can read this here, $2.35 at, I don't know what price sticker that is, but it was $2.35 back in the day originally. And when did this album, I looked this up once before, I think this album come out in 58, something like that. I'll have to look that back up again. But this is really, really great. So I recommend Chuck Berry highly, highly. And One Dozen Berries is a great album. And Hank Ballard and the Midnighters are another really great group. And this is the last album that I've been spinning this week. I will have more because I have a big stack of fun vinyl to go through. But this is Hank Ballard and the Midnighters. Now, again, this is a compilation. And I typically don't do compilations if I can help it. I do my best to get all original presses. I'm not a vinyl snob, although that does make me sound like one. But I really do think original presses sound better for the most part. Now, vinyl can sound different depending on the vinyl because there's a variety of factors that go into how vinyl's made. And if you get vinyl with recycled pellets that are not using all fresh wax, of course, there's problems with that. You have picture discs that possibly don't sound good because picture discs aren't made like vinyl. They've just got that layer of picture in the middle, that paper that's just sort of sandwiched in between. You've got flexi discs that don't sound very good. So not all vinyl is created equally. And I definitely think that if you can get an original press and get one that is closest to the stamper before the stamper wears out, and that's the thing that presses all that pressure down and actually puts the music into the wax, the imprints, the grooves, the information on the record, it typically does sound better. So that's why I go for original presses. But there are some records that have been re-released onto vinyl and they're a compilation album and they can sound pretty good. It depends. You want to look up where that music is coming from. So if the music is coming from a digital source, it really isn't going to sound all that great because digital is compressed. So you're not getting that really warm, full, wonderful analog sound. So basically people that do digital to vinyl, that really makes no sense to me. So you want to see what source it's coming from. If it's something of a re-release, you also want to check to see who mixed and mastered it because sometimes the sound engineer just maybe didn't do a good job. So there are a variety of factors in that, but typically I would say first presses sound better, but occasionally you can get a record like this that's a compilation album that has been taken from the original masters and it sounds really good. And for something where you've got like the Midnighters, that are very, very hard to find on vinyl, anything original. I mean, 145 could be upwards of $50. Now you've got something with all their songs, and it's really, really a good deal. So this is on Charlie. Now, I think that this record label sort of looks like Chess. I was on another live stream not too long ago, and somebody mentioned that, but I do think it looks like the Chess label a little bit. But it's on Charlie, and this is, oh, hello, Cheryl Ross. Yes, I'm so glad you could join us. I really was hoping that you were okay. We've been all praying for you, and I'm glad you could join us and hang out a little bit and get distracted. So it is late here for me too, but I was up and thought, well, why not do a live stream? So I'm so glad you could join us. Now, this is Hank Ballard and the Midnighters, as I have probably said 8 times already. Now, this has lots of their great hits. Now, side 1 has Work With Me, Annie, Sexy Ways, Don't Change Your Pretty Ways, Rock and Roll Wedding, Open Up the Back Door, Rock Granny Roll, Tore Up Over You, Is Your Way For Real, The Twist, Teardrops on Your Letter, Kansas, Sugary, Finger Poppin' Time, Let's Go, Let's Go, Let's Go, What Is This I See, and I'm Gonna Miss You. Now, I believe The Twist was also done, of course, by Chubby Checker. Chubby Checker made that very famous, but lots of groups did everybody's songs in the 50s. If you go back and look at a lot of 50s groups and 50s music, you'll see that songs are done by a bunch of different groups. So if an artist likes somebody's style, then they would copy it and do their own version of the song. And back then, that wasn't considered frowned upon. It was actually an honor. Nowadays, you have all this copywriting, and it's just a mess, and you have to get all this permission. But in the 50s, it wasn't quite like that. So you see a lot of groups covering each other's music. Over the Rainbow is a great example of that. That song has been done and done and done by 8 and 1 million doo-wop groups. Every group did Over the Rainbow, it seems like. And of course, The Twist is another one you see people do a lot. And Earth Angel, that was originally done by the Penguins, but so many other groups did that as well. Lots of great music. Hi, Kathy Viller. I'm so glad. Yes, you are in our thoughts, Cheryl. And if you ever need to chat, YouTube family is here for you, and you can join any of the chats, and we'll always be here to give you a boost. Or if you want to message us on Instagram, I'm sure any one of us, including myself or Nate, will be happy just to chat with you a little bit. We're always here. So I'm glad you could join the stream and have a little bit of a distraction. So these are the albums that I have been spinning this week, and they're really fun to listen to. I love 50s music. There is just something about that sound that we don't have in music now. And I really feel like if we could all go back to listening to some of those 50s songs, it's just bring a lot of happiness to the world. And I'm not saying anything is wrong with modern music. The great thing about music is you can like any genre you want, and it really is something for everybody. But I just love this early rock and roll, early doo-wop. There's something so magical about it, in my opinion. Angela Marksberry saying her mom is a Coke lover too. I just redid our stuff in the dining room and got all of the Coke stuff along one wall. Well, that's awesome, Angela. You're going to have to share it on Instagram. I'd love to see. I have always loved Coca-Cola. My love of Coca-Cola started when I was a little girl. So my mom never let us have a lot of sugary drinks growing up, and that's probably a good thing. Soda is actually quite terrible for you. But when I'd go visit my dad in the summer, he would let us have pretty much all the Coke in the world that we wanted. And so we would have these bonfires in the evenings, summer evenings, and Dad would have a big cooler and he'd have Coca-Cola in there, and I could just have what I wanted. And I just thought that was so magical and fun, seeing that Coca-Cola can with the label, and it was red, which was my favorite color. And that just really got me in love with the drink Coca-Cola. And then my mom would take me to Antique Week. Well, I say Antique Week, it's really just like 2 days. at a local. It's the Fernandina Shrimp Festival, but it has arts and antiques and vintage and food, and it's just sort of a outdoor festival, and you can go around and view all the different booths and it's really fun. But they have an antique street, like an antique row. That's what everybody called it. At the very end, after you got through all the artists and people that did crafts, you could go to the antique row. And I remember them having all these really cool Coca-Cola bottles, and they were inexpensive. And so I started picking those up as a kid, and I just fell in love with Coke. It just became a really big passion of mine, and I've been collecting ever since. And Vinny, he was the first person I ever saw on YouTube talking about Coca-Cola. And I was so glad that I found someone else on YouTube or really online that was interested in it. He collected the trays. He still collects them, obviously, like I do. And I just thought that was so cool. And so then I had to get more trays because Vinny would show more on his YouTube channel. And I just thought, oh, that one's so cool. That one's cool. And so then I'd go online and I'm like, well, let me see what price I can get this at. And, always trying to get the best deal. And they're just so fun. Cheryl saying, thanks, Katie. All of you are wonderful. Another opportunity to thank you all. I'm a very private person, so this is strange and wonderful at the same time. Now back to the wonderful show. Oh, Cheryl, you're so welcome. I understand that. But just know that we are all here for you and thinking about you. Angela, when we take out the Halloween stuff, it will be less crowded, and I'll get a pic of it. Just recently got a wooden Coke bottle carrier from a thrift store. That's awesome, Angela. There are so many different Coca-Cola crates. You would just be surprised how many different ones are available. And there are some really older ones that are large, and they carry the big syrup jugs. And I would love to find one of those. I have never. Now, I got lucky because my grandparents' neighbor, he had a bunch of Coke crates in his garage, and his dad had them at his car dealership in the 1930s. So I have the old yellow ones. The yellow crates are older than the red crates. And I am just so thrilled to have those. It was really a neat treat when he brought those over and knew that I would give them a good home. And they're really fun. And then my cousin Sharon just sent me some bottles. She has a lake house, and they would go digging by the lake house because there was a ton of old stuff that was just kind of stuck in the ground. And she loves bottles. She's a big bottle collector, not just Coke, but all kinds of medicine and antique bottles, really knowledgeable on it. And she sent me 3 Coke bottles they found dug in the ground. They had dug up from the lake house. And some of them are quite old, and they have the cities on them, but the cities are cities that are smaller. So if you find Coca-Cola bottles that have a city on them that isn't a major city, like Palaca, for example, Florida, had a small bottling plant, those are a little bit more collectible and harder to find. So those are pretty neat. This Overstuffed House, thanks so much for joining my live stream. It's amazing to me. There are 6 people watching at 1 a.m. This Overstuffed House says, I had a yellow crate standing on end in my room for years. It was the perfect size to hold paperback books. Now, isn't that a great idea? I really love that idea for books. Yes, Coke crates hold so many things. You can really do a lot with them, not just bottles, but you can stack them up. Misty has a stack of them from Thrifter, Junker, Vintage Hunter in her living room. And she puts, I think the latest picture I saw of it had an old globe on it because she collects those old globes, which is a really great idea. But you can do a lot. Oh, you just got done with work at 11 p.m.? Wow. Well, I'm so glad you could join us and have a little fun for a while now that you're off work. Angela, yes, she would. Well, I posted a couple of pictures on this, on the backdrop with all the Coca-Cola trays on my Instagram. So you guys can go check that out if you want to show anybody. It is really fun. And I just got another Coca-Cola tray. Actually, let me show it to you because it's right here. Vinny helped me find this one. Vinny is always sending me auctions. I'm going to go out of the camera for just a second to grab it. And you guys are going to see a weird angle here for a second. But Vinny helped me with this one. he keeps sending me auction listings from eBay on trays that he knows that I would like and that I don't have, because he has trays that I want, and that's funny. And of course, I have trays that he wants, so we're always talking about that. But anyway, he sent me an auction listing for this, and I talked the seller down to a really reasonable price. And this is a Coca-Cola tray from the 1900s. And this is the Hamilton King Girl tray. Now, she has seen rougher days, but I mean, it's amazing to be holding something this cool from 1910 or so. And look, Hamilton King, it is authentic. It's signed Hamilton King. It has the Coca-Cola company down at the bottom, and it has the painting done by the Coca-Cola Corporation. That mark is at the bottom. And then on the other side, it is part of American Artwork St. Coshocton, Ohio, which did a lot of the Coca-Cola trays. And it does have the, it's hard to see, but it is marked in the swerve of the sea there. So this is an original tray. And I just think that it is so cool to have her. I have been wanting her for such a long time, and I finally got her. So yay, yay, yay. I don't think $30 was too much to ask for her, because I have seen her go for a lot more online. So I really, really love this tray, and I will have to hang it on my wall. I am running out of room on my wall, so it might have to go up really high. Dana from Southern Mermaid was kidding with me one night on one of the chats and said, "Oh, you're going to have to start putting Coke trays on the ceiling." And I was like, well, it is blank and it is available, but I probably won't do that. I just have to find more space for my trays, because I haven't even touched the surface of the amount of trays that are available. If you have Petretti's Guide, which is a Coca-Cola collector's guide, you can look and see how many trays there are. And there's a whole series of trays for the Mexican market that I don't even have, that Vinny has more of those than I do. And then there's a whole bunch for Canada, and just lots of trays to collect that are fun. So that's really, really neat. And I'll have to add more to that. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this live stream. I don't have any more records. I could go get some more, but these are the ones I've been listening to this week. And I showed the Coke tray, and we'll have to do more of these lives. I've been thinking that every Wednesday I will go live, and either I might sell a few things or just do a chat and hang out, maybe occasionally give away some prizes. Oh, by the way, that reminds me, if you guys were on my live chat on Wednesday for Halloween, if you guys won a advertisement, because I gave four away. That makes no sense. I gave away 4 advertisements, and I have not had anybody claim them yet by sending me an email. So I announced the winners on that live stream, and I have not gotten an email. So if you won something, please email me. In fact, I can pop my email up on the screen for a second. But that is my email. So please claim them if you would like them, because they're really fun. They're from 1949. And I did send out the record to Michelle at not Mermaid Cove, the other Michelle, Michelle Newton's Cupboard. We have so many Michelles and Dianas and Danas that it takes me a little second to get everybody straightened out. I think I've learned everybody's name now, except for Pink Elephant Parlor. I keep forgetting her name, and it drives me nuts, because I know that I can remember it if I just put my mind to it. I am so bad at names. I finally have been in enough chats where I've gotten to know everybody, and it's become second nature. But that name really gets me. I don't know why I can't remember it, but I'm starting to get everybody's name. Katie, if you can, hold the items to your left. We have a chat blocking them on the right. Oh, yes. Okay, yes. People are watching on their computers, and the chat is coming in. Yes, I will be sure to do that. Oh, thank you, Angela. Sam or Sandra. That is right. Why in the world do I have trouble with that? I have no clue. I'll have to remember, like, we have Thrift You, which is also Sam, and then we have another Sam. I'll have to try to remember it like that. And yes, I'm Nancy. Yes, there aren't very many Nancy's, this overstuffed house. So that is good. That's easy to remember everybody's name when it's just, there's not very many names like that. I don't think there are any other Katies that I know of in the community. Now, I could be wrong about that, but I think I'm the only Katie. So I do kind of have that going for me. But there is a lot of other names that are so similar. And it's funny because tonight on Jeffrey's sale at Real Nifty Vintage, I typed in, who did I say hello to? It wasn't Trisha at Sandy and Otto. It was Rita at Petite's Vintage Finds. I said, hello, Rita. And then there was apparently two other Ritas in the chat that said hello back to me. And I thought that was fun. I'm like, okay, I need to really use the @ symbol so that I make sure it goes to the right person. But I'm happy to say hello to all the Ritas. That's fine with me. But I thought that was fun. So I showed some vinyl tonight, and I will be showing more. I'll get back with the What's Spinning videos on my YouTube page on Friday. That's what I normally do. Is Friday is my vinyl day. Wednesday is my vintage antique day. And then Monday we do the saucy romance novel from 1953, which is fun. I've really enjoyed Katie and her camera. I have to say, for any of you who have been tuning into that, it has turned out to be a really good book. I got it from Nicole at Nesting Haven. And it's funny because Nicole said, I'm so glad this found a Katie. And it really did, not only because the title, but the Katie in the book is so much like me. It is insane. I'm reading this and I'm thinking, man, was this book written about me? She likes photography just like I do. And she's organized and she likes to write. And I mean, just, I don't know. It's just funny how we are so similar, but I really enjoy that book. And it's fun to read things from bygone era, like 1953, and to see what people had to say back then. Now, there hasn't been too many things that are saucy per se. I was thinking that it might be more like some of the books that Misty gets on her channel and sells. I know Michael Todd collects them, those saucy romance novels. And it does say that it's a romance novel for young moderns. But there hasn't been anything too saucy other than a kiss on the cheek, but I don't consider that too bad. So we'll have to see if there's anything more that comes about. Oh, and they did, in one of the chapters, they did call, what was it, a lady, they said she was walking around like a pudgy bird. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's not a very nice thing to say. But for the time, that must have been really scandalous back then. So I think that book's fun. And then, of course, on Wednesdays, I think this week I'll be doing my swatch video. I know a lot of people have been asking me about that. I did a swatch watch video. I showed the first part of my collection, and I'll go back and show the second part soon. I think that will be this Wednesday. And then, of course, I will be doing some vintage games soon. I have Cootie. I have some other board games that are fun. I have a original Monopoly from the 1930s, and I would love to show off. Chinese checkers, bridge. Let's see, the other, Bridget. I have Bridget, which is a fun game. And what else do I have to show? Lots of good old games. I think I want to do a whole video on those old Milton Bradley games. I think people might really enjoy that. I love 60s soul music. Yes, me too, Cheryl. Man, some of that old soul music is really great. I love the Marvelettes. They're one of my absolute favorite groups. And I have been looking for Please Mr. Postman on vinyl. I cannot get it. Now, I have a compilation album of theirs, but I, for the life of me, cannot find that on vinyl anywhere. And I don't know why it is so hard. There are listings of it online, but for $800 a record just is insane in my opinion. I won't ever pay that for a record. It doesn't matter to me how rare it is. So maybe at some point I'll wind up and find it on the cheap. Milton Bradley had some great games. They really, really did, Nancy. I just think that their graphics are fabulous and the games are really fun. I played Cootie a lot growing up with my grandparents. And I think that this Cootie that I have is the original from the 50s. And it's just a really great game. And all the pieces are still there, except for one of the antennas is missing because my brother and I were playing, and when my grandparents would come and visit, and we dropped it in the carpet, and none of us could find it, and it must have gotten sucked up by the vacuum. But all of the pieces are still there. My mom always made sure when we got done with the game that we would put all the pieces away so that nothing got lost. And I have to give her credit for that, because it really is a good system, because then nothing gets lost and it stays safe. And that's why we have all these wonderful board games still today, because we took good care of them. I think that's really important. Any other chatter happening in the chat? It's so cool that there are 9 people up at 1 a.m. I really enjoyed George's live events. He's been having these live events, or it's Xenomorph has been doing it. His tech guru has been doing it, and they're fun. He does like these midnight 1 a.m. Calypso lounges, and he'll play all this fun Calypso music, and people can just hang out. There's no content, no video. It's just people hanging out in the chat, talking with each other, and they're only available, like you can't go back and rewatch them. They're only available for that time. So if you're up and you catch it, then you get to be a part of it. And I just think that's really fun. I wish I could play some of this old music for you all on my channel, but I'd get demonetized. Not that I'm monetized, because I'm not. I only have 500 subscribers, but I would get copyright strikes, which I don't want. Nancy's saying, I missed the 1960s Monster Old Maid game. It had classic monsters like Frankenstein, Dracula, etc. Oh, that would be fun to find one of those. I don't know how rare they are, but I would just love to find one. That would be really cool. We played Old Maid too. I have Old Maid, but it's not the original Old Maid. It's a more modern version. Angela's saying, I got to go working in the morning too. Oh, great, Angela. That's okay. You go get some rest, and you have a good day at work. And we'll talk to you later. Again, thanks for doing the calendars. You're really helping a lot of people in the community keep track and get to all these live events. There are just so many of them now. And it is fun to see everybody live on their channels. Everybody does a great job putting things together. It's just so hard to keep track of everything. And there's all these pop-up live things happening now, like I did tonight. And it's just impossible to keep track of all of that. So I really, really hope that we can be looking out for the calendar this week. Hello, Left Lane Finds. I'm so glad you could join us. Please remind me of your name again, because I'm still learning everybody's names. I've got a lot of the people that come to the chats weekly in the chat. I've gotten their names down, but I need to learn your name, because I don't think I've totally learned your name yet. So let me know your name in the comments. Yes, I love this community. We have one of the most kind, caring, wonderful communities, I think, out of all the YouTube and online chat spaces. I have just gotten to know some really fabulous people who are so kind and so nice. I love how everybody helps each other out in the lives. And if someone really wants something, someone will relinquish their item, even if they want it, and give it to somebody else. I've seen that a bunch. People are just so nice, and they always are kind about asking about other people and sending prayers and checking on them, and it's just so fun. And the chats every day, I just love being in the chats, because it is so fun getting to meet all these wonderful people and just to have fun. And boy, does Vinny keep us cracking up in the chats, man. He is our comic relief, and there's so many people that work hard at that, which we all need right now. Yeah, I'm up late too. I'm just hanging out. Your name is Denna, or am I saying that correctly, Denna? That's great, Left Lane Finds. Thank you so much. I will make a note of that, and I'm going to learn everybody's name sooner or later. Cheryl's saying, what did Cheryl say? I missed out on her chat. She said, I saw them in Coventry, England in 1989. I'll just say struggling. Oh, okay. And which group did you see? Oh, you saw the Marvelettes. Oh, man. That would have been cool to see them live, even if they were having trouble. Penny is trouble. Nancy, yes. He does stir up some chatter in the chat, but that's always fun. He keeps me laughing, so I appreciate that. Dina. Okay, thank you. I got it. Hello, Carolina lady. I'm so glad you could join us. Yeah, I'm a night owl sometimes. I'm up late and it's fun just to hang out and see what's on YouTube at 1:20 in the morning. I'm up just chatting with all of you guys. If you missed earlier, I had Louie on, my pug. She's snoozing on the couch right now, but she was on the live stream and she was wiggling, so I had to put her down. But she's on my Instagram page, so if you missed her and you want to see my pug Louie, you can check her out on my Instagram, vintage_and_vinyl. And I'll post a lot of great vintage pictures as well. But I do post Louie because she's just so cute, in my opinion. I love Louie so much. And I showed some vinyl earlier that I've been spinning. Let me know what your favorite vinyl is down below. There are a lot of vinyl out there, a lot of great music to listen to. And someone had already mentioned soul music from the 60s, which I totally enjoy. And I just think it's so great. I was watching a rerun of the show Sister Sister. I don't know if any of you guys remember that show. I think it originated on Disney Channel in maybe the early 2000s, but it's on Netflix now. And I popped on an episode, and the show was about music, and the two girls who are sisters ended up wanting to go see this rap concert, and their dad wouldn't let them because the rap concert was bad. The artist had a lot of bad language and things in it, and he was explaining to them that they should be listening to people like Chuck Berry and Chubby Checker and all these soul groups, Sam Cooke and other great music. And I was listening to that and I thought, yes, that's such good music. That's so cool to see it talked about in a modern TV show. I just thought that was fun. Bye, Michelle. Oh, yes, I'm so glad that you got to listen to me while you're packing orders. I hope you get all those out. I packed for my live sale, and I was exhausted, and I only had 20 items. So I just can't imagine someone like yourself that does those wonderful, long live sales, or Jeffrey at Real Nifty Vintage, or Misty. I don't know how they do it, because after the 20 wears, I was like, if I see another piece of bubble wrap or a box, although I do like the bubble wrapping and the packing, it's the invoicing that is really, really hard, because you got to make sure you're typing everybody's email in correctly and going from PayPal to Pirate Ship. And that's the part, the computer work of it all is what is really tiring, in my opinion. I kind of have fun styling the packages. And if you got a package from me, I use my Vintage and Vinyl wax seal, because I had one made, because I love doing wax seal things, and I put that on all of my envelopes. So I just have fun with that kind of thing. But I can't imagine. And Michelle does the best marathon sales. I mean, she is the queen of live sales, that's for sure. Hello, Joanne. I think I might have just said hello to you. My husband plays Joan. Oh, on vinyl. Wow. Yeah, that's awesome. There is so many good records out there, and sometimes it's fun just to go into a vinyl store and pick one up that you haven't heard of, but you might give it a try if it's inexpensive enough. I've done that and discovered some really, really cool music from just picking up something I didn't know what it was. I want to do a live sale, but I don't. I don't want to do 2 or 3 hour sale. Well, Patrick, he at Trusty Huckster Mercantile does a sale where he's been having group sales with 4 people or so, and then that limits him to only 20 items or so per sale. And 20 items, I think, is very reasonable. My experience with it is, yes, after a while, the packing, it does get monotonous, but eventually you get it done, and you're just so happy to see all the packages go out and get to their new owners. But it is work, but it's fun. It's really neat seeing people love the items that you have, and getting to interact with people in the chat, and you get to make some money too. So that's not a bad thing. But I just give it a try, and you could do like a short pop-up sale. So you could only do maybe 10 items or 15 items, or even Fatbird Finds has like a live chat, and they do the flipping and sipping, but then they do Fatbird 5, so they sell only 5 items, or maybe a few extra items and a bonus elephant. But you could do whatever it is you wanted, and it could be as long as you want or as short as you want. It doesn't have to be, 4 hours long unless that's something you want to do. Michelle, oh yes, I'm sure you get tired. I don't know how Michelle does it, but she starts at 1 o'clock on Thursdays, and by 6 o'clock sometimes she is still going. I tune in when I can during the day, and I'm like, oh, good, I haven't missed Michelle. She's still on, and it's amazing to me because I don't know how you do it, Michelle. You're amazing. There are so many people that do great sales. Uh, Oh, yes. Thank you. Yes, I do have my own wax seal. There's a company. What is the company that I got it from? It's a local business here in the US, and they make wax seals. And I'll have to send you a link or put it down below, but it's a very inexpensive way to brand your own items. You can pour your wax and stamp your seal, and it's custom made, so it never will wear out, and you don't have to keep buying stickers or anything like that. It's really neat, and just the whole experience of pouring the wax and stamping it is just really wonderful. I love wax seals. They're so fun. And you can get a big box, and I mean a big box, about this big, with probably over 20 compartments of different colored wax for only $8 on Amazon, with the candles and the pour for the wax. So it's a super good deal. Nancy saying, I have plenty of stuff as I have 3 estates, but getting a full 2 to 3 hours to do just one uninterrupted here is a problem. Oh, yeah, well, that can be a problem. When I film videos or do lives, usually Louie, I take Louie and I put her in the bathroom because she barks so loudly that it blocks the audio and nobody can hear me. Now, this time of night, there's nobody really out walking around. But normally, because of my neighbors and the fact that I'm right below a dog park in my building, Louie goes nuts and nobody can hear me. So I put Louie with her favorite peanut butter treat, or actually I use almond butter because it's better for dogs. I heard my vet tell me, but you can do that, and then she stays calm and distracted while I do that, because everyone would just hear Louie going bananas in the background if I didn't do that. But yes, it's hard to find a quiet moment. That is cool, but I think my house would not transfer to something that small. But I do have some wax seals in my desk. That's fun. Well, I just put V and V, and then I had a little design around the outside, so you could just, put your own logo, whatever it is you wanted, or just your initial. I have the Greek key pattern going around the outside of my stamp. Joanne saying some people only do an hour sale because they have a full-time job. Just to start, only at 10 or 12 items, 10 or 20 items. Yeah, I would do something that's small for your first sale. You don't have to try to do something large. And I would get items for one that that you like. So if you do have to keep them, it's not a problem. You're happy keeping them. Like everything in my live sale that I had, and I was on with Patrick at Trusty Huckster Mercantile. I was on with George, Dottie Lynn, and Patrick, and I did a 4-seller, 1 sale. And I picked items specifically that if they didn't sell, I would be okay keeping because I really like them. But also they were small, like all of the items except for the wreath, the Christmas wreath I had, the cellophane wreath, everything was really small and lightweight and easy to ship. So if you get things like that, you can just put it in a small box and out the door it goes. If, like Vinny always says on his channel, he says, well, we'll just throw it in a bubble mailer and it will be out of here. So if you get something like that, it's easy. Let's see, Carolina lady saying, I have a family wax seal. They're just so neat. I really, really love wax seals. They're fun. And Nancy saying, I have a fleur-de-lis that is I use sometimes on an Eagle Scout letters when I write for our scouts. I could use that. Yes, you could. And it has a great story behind it too, Nancy. So that's really fun to have something special like that. They're just so neat, the wax seals. And you can get them now by several makers. I'll have to link down below the company that I use. But you can get them on Etsy too. If you just want your initials done, those are made all the time on Etsy by small sellers that do this as just sort of their creative gig, and they make all kinds of homemade crafts. So it's fun to support local and small businesses when you can. And I certainly enjoy getting those wax seals because they are fun. And I've had people comment that they really, really enjoy them and it brightens their day. So that's fun. It's worth doing if just for that. I think it's fun. Any other chat happening? Sometimes the chat, it's funny how it jumps. You'll be reading one thing and then all of a sudden it just jumps and flies really far away from you. Nancy says, I'm assistant scoutmaster in a troop with 52 boys from 11 to 18 years old. I am head of advancement and I write lots of letters and emails to these kids. Wow, Nancy, that is a lot of boys. I am amazed. That's fun, though. I'm sure you write a lot of letters and emails, and it's neat to add a personal touch to them. That is something that I'm sure the boys will remember for a long time. Cheryl's saying, it's very hard to accept that all of the older soul and R&B artists that we still love nearly made money or that we still love never really made money or get paid now. The labels who bought their catalog is making the money. The artists aren't. Yes, it is sad. I was talking to someone about Little Richard the other day, and I've been telling him that, Little Richard was washing dishes in a bus station in Georgia when he wrote the song Good Golly Miss Molly, but he had already at that time had 2 or 3 other hits that had made gold, and he just wasn't making tons of money then. He was still very, very poor, hence why he had the job. And a lot of companies now are buying. That's my wash machine, by the way. My laundry is done. It makes a funny noise when it ends. But a lot of companies now are buying some of these older artists up, and they're not making tons of money. And then it's harder for us to go back and use that music because there's copyright. One of the first videos I did, I used a Chuck Berry song, and I used 11 seconds of it by mistake. Now, 10 seconds you can use. Supposedly, you can use 10 seconds of it without getting in trouble. But I used 11 seconds, and YouTube flagged me, and they wanted me to take down my video. And I actually went and I fought it because it was a Chuck Berry recording from London, and the copyright law is kind of murky, and you have to be a copyright attorney to really learn a lot about this. But I did do some research, and I found out that music from the 50s, most of it isn't copyrighted. However, it is getting bought by companies, and they are putting copyrights on it. But music after the 70s, in the 1970s, can be copyrighted, because I think that's when the copyright law started. And then if it's copyrighted after 1970, then it can be copyrighted 70 years after the artist dies or something crazy like that. And so I now use only 10 seconds of Chuck Berry in my intro, and I've never had a problem. However, if I ever do get monetized, which would be really cool, I will probably have to change that, because I don't know that YouTube will be happy with that, my 10 seconds of Chuck Berry. So I don't know. Some of these old artists really are not getting what they should get, I think. I agree with that statement. It really is very true. Well, guys, I've had fun chatting. I've been for almost an hour now, which I can't believe. I'm so glad I could show some of the vinyl that I've been spending this week in a Coke tray and chat with you about this and that. That's always fun. We'll have to do more of these pop-up lives because I enjoy interacting with everybody in the chat and seeing you all here. Please make sure to check out an awesome group of people tomorrow on YouTube. There's a lot of things happening. Dee at Thrill the Thrift is having her sale at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then, of course, I believe Pamela Blanchard will be on at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We all can't wait to get to Miss Pamela's kitchen. She is fabulous. And there are a few other sellers as well tomorrow. I think Christine from Side Street Market might be doing a pop-up sale at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then if you love old music like I do, there's a great YouTube channel. You've got to follow him, Johnny G's Vinyl Treasure Show. Now, he plays original 45s for almost 3 hours every Saturday night starting at 10 p.m. He's on a radio broadcast, and he is just really, really wonderful. And you can watch the live radio show on YouTube. So he streams to YouTube and to the Top Shelf Oldies chat room, but you get to see all the vinyl on YouTube, and he is wonderful. So I love Johnny, and it's a great time to just hang out with other people that love 50s music. The chat is very small. There's probably only 10 of us, so it doesn't fly by. It's easy to keep track of, and you can really enjoy that old music. So this week will be his all 60s show. So for all those that love 60s music, that's going to be this week. And then every other week is 50s music. So lots of good stuff happening on YouTube tomorrow. Please go check that out. Yes, it's Johnny G's Vinyl Treasure Show. Johnny G's Vinyl Treasure Show on YouTube. I'll link him down below, but he is really fabulous. And I'm so glad that I found him. Someone recommended him, and I've been watching every Saturday night since then. It's so fun. Yes, good night, Kathy Biller. Carolina lady, yes, I'm so glad. It's fun, and yes, not to know that you're alone and up at 1:30 in the morning. You are not the only one. I think this vintage community, a lot of us are up pretty late in the evening sometime, and I love hanging out with you all. So this was fun. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Happy Halloween. Please stay in and stay safe. And as always, binge YouTube. Bye-bye now.